Welcome to Intuitive Real Talk, the podcast where I am going to cut through all the BS. I'm going to light a fire under your spiritual ass, and I'm going to remind you your intuition isn't weird, it is your superpower. Hi, I'm Stephanie, a psychic medium, intuitive coach, animal communicator, paranormal expert. Yep, all the things intuitive. I'm also a professional truth dropper. So, what are we going to do here? We're going to dive into it all. Shadow work, spirit talk, intuitive gifts, and yep, even aliens, like a spiritual dumpster dive, but with purpose. There's going to be no gatekeeping, no fluff, no performative love and light bullshit, just raw, unfiltered conversations for people who know they came here to shake shit up. Let's get into it. Hi there. Gosh, I am so excited to jump into my first episode with you of Intuitive Real Talk. This episode, I'm going to talk about why it's so dang important to know your intuitive gifts. And no, it is not about because you're going to be giving readings. No, it's not because you have to go out in public. None of that. It's all about why you need to know why your soul came to this earth specifically with certain gifts. Everyone has all gifts, but some will be more dominant than others. But if you think about it like this, some individuals came here, they cannot see, they cannot hear, they cannot speak. It's because even though they have a gift, they're using it differently than what would be considered the more normal dominant way, right? And so they may be seeing with touch, with feeling, knowing all the things. And so when you think about it like that, our intuitive gifts are similar. That's why I'm not a huge fan of labeling, especially with the clairs, like clairsentient, clairaudient, all those things. You can look all them up, right? Today, I want to talk about why it's important just for you to know what your dominant intuitive gift or gifts are and why you would need to tap into them. Because a lot of times people will say to me, gosh, I don't want to give ratings. I don't want to be out in public. My gifts scare me. This is scaring me. And that could be because of how they were brought up. It could be just something that, hey, I chose it, but my soul is rejecting it for my journey. There's just a variety of reasons why people will either tiptoe or not use it until kind of shit hits the fan and then they're forced to use it. Or they'll get to the point where they're like, dang it, I knew it. I felt it. I heard it, whatever. And so it's literally your soul speaking to your human shell that says, hey, I'm trying to give you a warning because everything is energy, right? Okay. So why would you still need to know your intuitive gifts? Essentially, when you know your intuitive gifts, your sixth sense, you'll lean on that dominant gift. You will know how to make decisions, how to do like the shadow work, how to parent, how to be a partner, whatever roles that you're in. It will help you to flow so that you have healthy boundaries, so that you let go of anxiety, so that you're not worrying every time that you're like all, let's just be honest, some people just worry all the time. And the reason why they're worrying is because they can feel the energy, but they're not trusting their intuition, or they're not understanding that some of that stuff that they're feeling isn't even theirs. If they were truly tapped in, grounded, doing all the things, then they're just like, oh, okay, that's not my shit to carry. I get to let that go. Or, oh, this is ancestral or generational or past life energy that's hitting me. And I get to acknowledge it, lean into it, heal it, let it go. That's going to be another topic for a different episode. But today it's all about remembering that when you tap into you, and I mean you fully, what happens is you start to thrive differently. You start to not look externally for people to make you happy. You won't look externally for validation or confirmation. You will read the energy in a way that's healthy for you. It will help you in your roles of whatever they look like, but it will also help you to really start to connect in and not feel so damn stuck. You know what I mean? A lot of times people will say to me, gosh, I just don't know what will make me happy. I I feel so much anxiety. I worry all the time. I don't know how to make my decisions on things that I want to do. I'm scared, but I keep having these cravings. I'm craving to travel or to quit my job or to, get in a relationship or to have a child or whatever you're craving or wanting, I should say, because that's your soul's bucket list kicking in, and you're meant to listen one to your soul, which is also divine source, whatever resonates with you, as well as your human side is trying to process everything. So if you used your sixth sense, what would happen? Things would flow. Why do you have eyesight? So you can see in the 3D world, right? Why can you hear? So that you can hear, so that you can feel, so that you get touch, all the things. Our human senses are meant to be amplified by our intuitive senses. So this way, when we touch something, we remember the feeling. When we see something, we get an imprint in our brain. When we hear something, we now hear the sound. When we smell something, we now have a memory of that smell. All of our intuitive gifts amp that up. So if spirit is trying to talk to us, boom, you may have a memory of a smell. You may see a picture in your brain. You may hear something that's in your head. There's all these things that happen, and that's how they're trying to talk to you because they're like, you've already experienced this, you've already touched it, you've already felt it. Now we need you to understand when we're talking to you, because now your human side is translating spirit, it's translating your higher self, it's translating divine, all of the things. And so that's why they want you to use all of your human senses, but implement your intuitive senses so that everything flows. So it just kind of feels like, oh, okay, I don't need to carry all this weird shit. I don't need to second guess myself. I don't have to have that anxiety. I don't need to worry. I get to have those healthy boundaries. I get to know if you are a gaslighting person or that you're projecting your fears or wounds onto me. And I also know how to clear my energy and how to push my energy out so that I am protected. So that this way, I am working and living and thriving on my journey rather than everyone else's journey. I don't have to sit there and feel bad or guilty or blame myself for living my truth and doing the things that light me up. And so when I say it's so important to know your intuitive gifts, most of the time when I'm coaching someone or giving them a reading, it's because they don't trust themselves. They don't listen to their inner dialogues. And when I say inner dialogues, I don't mean like our human mind that's like going around in a circle, you know what I mean? It's more of I am listening to my soul as well as all of the other things that are helping me on my journey. And a lot of times people will be like, I feel scared of my gifts, or I just keep second guessing them. You second guess them because you don't understand how they work. And every time you have some sort of upgrade or there's an energetic shift, you got to recalibrate. It's kind of like when your computer doesn't a download, an upgrade, whatever it does, you got to reboot it, right? It is the same thing with ourselves. We have to recalibrate. And it's kind of like doing simple little exercises with ourselves of what we can do to help to recalibrate, to make sure that when we're using our intuition, that we're not second guessing ourselves. So essentially, when people are in their head a lot and they're thinking a lot, or they've been in a relationship or they grew up with someone that might have been very narcissistic or gaslighting or played the victim, you may have a narrative in your head that one, I'm not good enough, or my opinion doesn't matter, speaking my truth doesn't matter. And so when that starts to happen, you got to learn your gifts differently because now you are carrying their energy or what they projected onto you, which dimmed you down. And so essentially what you got to do is just kind of like work on your gifts in a way of, do I need to verbally say it out loud to see what dings in my body? Do I need to just know it? Do I need to hear it in my head? Do I need to see it? Do I need to feel it? Do I need to whatever? There's so many ways our gifts work. And sometimes it's like a stepping stone. Like a lot of natural intuitives, they were born awake. Like they never closed down. I am a natural intuitive. I've always been awake all my life. But my gifts fluctuate very much. It could be extremely dominant on one way. And then all of a sudden I start to work with someone else, support and guide them. It could flip on me. Or I could be sitting there and all of a sudden I'm hearing messages differently or I'm smelling things differently. So things will change as you use your gifts more and how you're evolving. Because when we first start, we got to feel all that crap, right? A lot of natural intuitives also have a really, usually not a typically happy-go-lucky childhood. It's just like a roller coaster. And when they get older, now they got to process all those wounds and crap like that. Your gifts are still going. They just may be a little different and not as a healthy gift, right? And by that, I mean, you may use your gifts more as manipulation because you can read the energy really well, things like that. And so when you think about it, like things are always changing, they're always evolving. And the more you heal, the more shadow work you do, the more you implement them, they evolve in a way that's more high vibe, more growing. And I don't mean high vibe, false positive bullshit. Like, I mean, like they're actually evolving and getting stronger. And it's kind of like when you stretch your body. At first, you may feel not flexible. You may be like, oh, my muscles are sore. But the more you do it, the less flexibility issues that you have. You start to like really, I feel great, right? And so as you're stretching them out, as you trust them more, they're going to grow for you, which helps you so that this way you aren't in those negative relationships. You aren't in those situations where you're like, I just don't know what to do. And so when you are first starting out, and let's say you're not a natural, or you just have never trusted your gifts, or you just don't truly understand how they work, whether you are a natural or something happened to wake you up, or you have just all of a sudden, you just hit that space where you're like, there's got to be more out there. I know there is. I'm sick of having this anxiety. I'm sick of worrying. I'm sick of doing the things. That's waking you up. And then all of a sudden you go into your spiritual awakening and all that fun stuff. And so when that starts to happen, you got to learn how your gifts work. You just do. A lot of times when I'm coaching people, they'll be like, I'll do exercises with them and they're like, oh, this is great. But they use it just once to see, yeah, I actually have, this is how my gift works. But then they don't use it anymore. And then they're all of a sudden like, maybe I was making it up. So you have to use it just like any other muscle. You got to keep using it. And the more you train yourself, the more you trust yourself, the more it flows for you. Now, will you have the same gifts as me if you were a medium? More than likely not. And the reason why I say that is because when we compare ourselves, what happens is now we're just like, am I as good as this person? Am I better than this person? It has nothing to do with that. Comparison is toxic as crap. So please don't do comparison because then now you're trying to almost see, am I at this level that's here or am I at this level that's down here? And you just don't want to play that game because then we almost get to the point where we worry if we miss something. We worry if something happens and we made a decision out of what we felt like our gut was telling us, and it didn't happen the way we thought it was going to, but it actually did. Like down the road, like if you think about it, you throw a pebble in the water and it ripples out and becomes big. So even though your decision at the time didn't feel like it was right, down the line, more than likely it will be. Because I've told people things like, I'll be like, this isn't going to work out for you. And then they'll try it and they'll be like, oh, it worked out. And then like a couple of weeks later, all of a sudden they're like, well, shit, it actually didn't work out, or it was toxic as crap because I forced it. You know what I mean? And so it's all about looking within, understanding how you work with your gifts, and then deciding how you want it to work for your gifts. Is it to release the anxiety? Is it to know yourself? Is it to give readings? Is it to just be able to navigate life in a way that I want to do the black sheep healing, or I just want to do healing all around? Like if you think about a lot of individuals that are in law enforcement, military, things like that, what do they say? Oh my gosh, all of a sudden my gut dinged, I had to do this, and it saved us from whatever situation they were involved in, right? When we trust ourselves, it helps us on our journey in more than one way. And so, gosh, I hope that this first episode made you feel a little bit like I do need to check out my gifts. And I hope that it made you feel validated in some of the areas that you may be exploring. And so, if you have any questions or if there's something that you want me to expand on, feel free to leave a comment and feel free to share this with anyone that you think may be interested in hearing all about why it's important to know your gifts. And if you'd like to book a session with me, feel free to go to my website at intuitivestephanie.com. Until next time.